name is Candace Ross. I'm a fifth-year PhD student in computer science and a Howard University alum. I'm honored to be speaking here today. This year's theme, Have Courage, Speak Up, Confront Injustice, gives us 3 concrete calls to action. In a way, the straightforward nature of these calls is a little uncomfortable. We're calling famous quotes like, "The young always inherit the revolution," Huey Newton, or "Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that," today's namesake. The call to action in these quotes is a bit abstract. And this abstract, high-level nature gives us a lot of wiggle room. We have the wiggle room to equate being good humans with fighting systemic inequities. It's the wiggle room that lets us say we value diverse views while not having diverse bodies in the room. And it is, unfortunately, the same wiggle room that allowed the Epstein money to walk into our doors. In my second year of grad school, shortly after the 2016 election, I got an email. And what was striking was the email's intro. "Hey Candace, as an activist, we were wondering if you'd be interested in organizing an allyship workshop." Those words, as an activist. I mean, for undergrad, I did attend the Howard University, the host of the infamous Malcolm X Bayard Rustin debate, the alma mater of Toni Morrison, Elijah Cummings, Taraji P. Henson. I had the privilege to walk those grounds in the heart of our nation's capital as a teenager. Even being empowered by those who've gone before me, I was brought back to the question, am I an activist? To be honest, I felt like a complete imposter. I checked to make sure they emailed the right Candace. I checked who they were because phishing is real. And I checked with myself. I asked myself, am I really an activist? Am I really qualified to create and lead this workshop? The theme again, have courage. I ran the workshop, and in many ways, it was a catalyst for me on campus. At this point, I've been the graduate resident advisor for Chocolate City for 4 years. I've served on many working groups around diversity and inclusion, and I've been on the executive board for the Black Graduate Student Association and the MIT Gymnastics team in hopes of channeling that Simone Biles energy. But my experience is not unique. Many students, many of my wonderful peers here today, especially from marginalized backgrounds, provide a lot of courageous labor at MIT. And these are the things that you can't add to your CV and that don't come up in technical interviews. This labor, this activism, is tiring yet important. So thank you to every student who contributes to our community in this way. I briefly mentioned the Epstein scandal. Why even bring up Epstein when there are many questionable donors on campus? Now, at the start of grad school, my close friend, a powerful scientist and wonderful woman of color, who is also a survivor of sexual violence, told me how hard it was to find the necessary campus resources. She reached out to tons of people seeking changes as simple as having a support group like her undergrad did. When she asked why we didn't have a support group, she was told the staffing for this group just wasn't in the budget. So it appears that of the nearly $850,000 Epstein donated since 2002, there were $0 in the budget for a survivor support group. This is a painful truth for many people on campus who've been either directly or indirectly impacted by sexual violence. My friend continued to push, and shortly after, Mental Health and Counseling ran a support group for about 4 months, and we also recently received an email that MIT is looking to start a support group again. So my friend's actions of speaking up, as our theme calls us to do, had an impact. Saying Me Too provided visibility and accountability. Now, Me Too is much more than just a recently popularized hashtag. It's a social movement begun by survivor Tarana Burke in 2006, a Black woman who truly embodied the second part of today's theme by boldly speaking about her experience. We have so many Taranas here on campus, my friend being a prime example, who have also boldly spoken out. We know that social movements are powerful ways to create change, especially on college campuses. So to the many Taranas here at MIT who've spoken out and pushed for change, we owe you a huge debt. A last key debt owed is to those who embody the final part of today's theme, to those who have fought and continue to tirelessly fight injustices. From my grandparents and even my parents' childhood, my parents are here as well, the flavor of American racism has changed. Now, my uncle went to a segregated elementary school, and that is my uncle. In theory, segregation isn't constitutional today. In practice, segregation exists by strategic zoning and inequitable funding, something that's present even here in Cambridge. And the government cannot, in theory, disenfranchise voters on the basis of race. This disenfranchisement happens in practice through mass incarceration and the permanent removal of voter rights. And we don't, in theory, discriminate in college and graduate admissions. Unfortunately, this is undermined in practice by the nepotistic structure of grad school reviewing. And this hits close to home for me because when I started grad school in 2015, our graduate community was only 5% Latina and just over 1% Black. The numbers for the indigenous community weren't even reported, I imagine because they were too small to not be personally identifying. Now, this part of the theme about confronting injustice relies in particular on those empowered to make changes. These necessary cultural shifts represent a burden too heavy even for MIT students. This is a case where the young cannot exclusively lead the revolution. Tenured faculty members will have to be the ones pushing for admissions reform, pushing recruitment efforts geared toward underserved populations, and pushing cultural shifts to make our spaces more welcoming. This is an area where saying we care about diversity in a one-page statement is not the same as concrete action geared toward reform. So, despite what feels like almost insurmountable barriers, how can we be optimistic? I think here we owe a thank you to those in power across faculty and staff who have actively used their platforms for change. These are the Gloria Ngoms, one of our award winners. The Chris Frazers, the Leslie Kolodziejskis, the Wes Harrises, the Ed Birchingers, we could go on. And again, a thank you to the students who, as always, continue to make their voices heard. These are through efforts like the BSU and BGSA, LGBTQ+ recommendations, countless campus petitions, and so much more that I'm sure I'm completely unaware of. The people using their platforms and power to change the system and rebuild it in a more just and equitable way do give me hope. So we all have a responsibility to view these concrete calls to action, have courage, speak up, confront injustice, as crucial for systemic and lasting change. This is truly a shared responsibility, and change requires contribution from everyone. My experience at MIT has been really amazing, due in large part to the people, many of whom are in this room. I love our culture of constantly evaluating the status quo and refusing to be complacent, and I'm excited to see where our community goes. Thank you all for your time today. Happy Black History Month.